Every product team is figuring out how to add AI powered analytics to their stack. Most solutions either feel bolted on or you end up building everything from scratch, and that's not a good case. In this video, I'm going to walk you through how can you integrate ThoughtSpot's AI into your web applications in three different ways. Starting from the simplest drop-in option all the way to going fully headless with REST APIs. If you are an engineer or an architect or a product owner, I think this is something that you would relate to and this is very useful for you. We'll cover Spotter Embed, Spotter Agent Embed and our AI REST endpoints. That too with actual examples. If you're new to this channel, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to this channel for more such amazing videos coming ahead.
So to start, for Spotter embedding and integration, there are really four main pillars for this type of integration with AI analytics and ThoughtSpot. We've had sessions on the Spotter embed, the left bucket. This is really what we call vanilla Spotter. So if you were to log into the front door of ThoughtSpot and leverage Spotter, either from a visualization or the search bar alone, we're able to take that UI and embed it into either third-party apps or web portals, however you guys want to integrate that into applications. So it's a very flexible AI intelligence feature that you can build into your applications. You got to provide a model ID. And I think there's some talk on the roadmap for selecting a model more automated. As it stands today, we have to pass in the GUID for a model to begin asking those natural language questions for really any of these options that we have on this slide. We can pass in a query at runtime. So once you invoke Spotter, the Spotter embed itself, we can initiate a query immediately and prompt the users to start asking, conversational type analytics right off the bat. So there's a lot of flexibility with the Spotter embed. And we'll talk a little bit more about each one of these as the presentation goes on. The Spotter Agent Embed, that's the second one that we've already had a session on. It really enables you to integrate conversational AI within a search box or an existing bot or agent that you may already have within your web application. So what you're going to do is issue a request to Spotter using the APIs, the Spotter Embed agent method, and ThoughtSpot is going to take that, create a visual for you, and then return to you a div that has that visual embedded into it. And so again, it's conversational. So each generation is going to build upon the last question that was asked. So each question can be retrieved from that chat box. It's passed into the Spotter Agent Embed, and then you're just embedding that div directly into somewhere within your web app. I'm going to skip over the third one and go to the MCP server. So that's a newer feature in ThoughtSpot. Hopefully you guys have read up on that a bit, but we're really excited about it. I think it's going to open a lot of doors for integration within existing MCP hosts like Claude, ChatGPT, other things like that. And again, I want to also mention that these sessions are recorded and we're putting them on our YouTube for ThoughtSpot for Developers channel. And we'll get you guys a link to that. So if you haven't seen these three sessions on MCP server, Spotter Embed, or Spotter Agent Embed, make sure you go out to YouTube and check those out. But for today, we're really going to focus mainly on the AI and data REST APIs. And I don't think a lot of these don't get a lot of attention. And I really think they should, because it really gives you a way to add flexibility into integrating artificial intelligence from ThoughtSpot into not just web applications, but also into third-party applications like Slack or Teams. It's just another lever that you can pull. So we can call these different endpoints, search data to get the data from the response. We can also pull down a PNG image of whatever that natural language question is that you're sending into ThoughtSpot and display that directly into that third-party app. So it's really the benefit of AI and the data REST API endpoints. So I'm going to go deeper into each one of these just to make sure we have a good overview of exactly when to use each one of these methods, and then maybe some of the customizations that you can make with each one of them, so we can understand what they're good at and maybe where help you make a decision on exactly which one to use. So the Spotter Embed, again, I call this the vanilla Spotter Embed. Most of our partners that are integrating the Spotter Embed into their applications, they're doing this because they want it very fast. They want to hit the market quickly. So with the Spotter Embed, you're able to just instantiate the SDK, pull in the GUID for the model, and your users are off and running with asking questions. There are some customizations that you can do with the Spotter embed. One is the sprite icon. So you can see in the bottom example, I've changed the Spotter dog logo to whatever that logo is. String substitutions. So out of the box, we have some text. You can change that however you want to. We do expose CSS variables, the action framework. You can pass a query in at runtime as soon as the Spotter embed loads. And then you can also leverage rules unstable. I've seen some partners that are doing some really creative things with rules unstable with the vanilla Spotter embed as well. But as always, keep in mind, rules unstable, as future versions of the software are released, things could break, although it's very rare. Just keep in mind that rules unstable can cause potentially some disruptions. Just got to keep your testing up to date. All right, the second is the Spotter Agent Embed. So a lot of our partners are leveraging the Spotter Agent Embed, which was previously called Spotter Bodiless Embed. We just renamed it. When you're wanting to integrate the AI analytics from ThoughtSpot within your existing bot or agent, or even a text box within your portal application. So you have full control over the message loop. You can send, receive, streaming, put guardrails in, however you want to do that. As far as customizations go, it's probably the main reason why people are using Spotter Agent Embed is you have full control over everything. The entire look and feel of that UI is really up to your creativity. All we're doing here is allowing the users to ask the question. We're sending that to ThoughtSpot. ThoughtSpot's returning back that div with the visual in it, and you're displaying that directly into that either bot, agent, or web page. And then the third is our AI REST API endpoints. And typically, we've helped a few of our embedding partners integrate this into third-party tools like Slack or Teams. You need full control over everything, right? So you're integrating with other tools. Again, I keep saying Slack and Teams. This could be really any other web application that you want to integrate this into. And the customizations here are really not applicable because we're just using the REST endpoints to send that natural language question to ThoughtSpot, and then either leveraging the data that ThoughtSpot returns, the search tokens, or we're pulling down a CSV, a PDF, some type of an image of that visual and displaying it somewhere within that third-party tool. And so I want to dig a bit deeper into these REST API endpoints and just talk about if you're interested in using these, obviously you can use our REST playground, and I'll show you that in just a moment. But the first thing you want to do, these are really the 4 high-level topics for integrating some type of solution with our AI REST endpoints. The end user is going to have to eventually select a model. That's going to be the first step. So our AI doesn't really know what to search until you give it a GUID for a model. So that's going to be the first step. Second step is using the AI conversation create endpoint to create an empty conversation. That's going to give you a conversation ID. And then we're going to allow the users to send the questions to ThoughtSpot using that conversation ID directly to the converse endpoint. And then from there, you can decide if you're wanting to either download the data using the search tokens. I've seen partners that have leveraged those search tokens to then take a user from, let's say, Slack directly into ThoughtSpot with those tokens populated in a search embed. Or you can embed directly into one of those third-party tools a PNG image of that answer that ThoughtSpot generates for you. And so really quickly, I just want to run through how this would work in our playground. So you can see here, I've got the visual embed playground in our try anywhere cluster. And as Ashika showed you earlier, you can embed Spotter directly in the playground. So this sample retail apparel data source, you can see I've got the worksheet ID here. So that's the GUID for that model. And I'm going to use that GUID in our REST APIs to create that empty conversation. So we've got our model. Now we need to create our conversation. So we just plug in that metadata identifier to create the empty conversation. And now we have a conversation ID. That conversation ID can then be used to send the message. So the message identifier, the conversation ID, and then whatever message that you allow your end users to ask, right? So show me total sales by region. The response from ThoughtSpot is going to give you the search tokens. So those search tokens can be used in a few different ways. The most common way that I've seen them be used is with downloading an image of that visual that ThoughtSpot creates for you. So in order to do that, we can go into reports and then export answer report, and then leverage the session identifier and then the generation number. So this is the iterative conversational experience of these endpoints. The first question will be 1, second question will be 2. So we want to make sure we pass in the correct generation number to get the right visual. And then we just download that PNG image and embed it within that third-party tool like Slack or Teams. Another option is just to get the data. So we can leverage search data endpoint for that as well, because we already have the search tokens that have already been given to us, right? So we can just pass in sales by region and the GUID of the logical table. And this is going to return to us all the columns and then the data itself. So you can do whatever you want with that data. Maybe you just want your users to have the ability to download the data. Maybe you have some backend process that you want to do something extra with that data. So just keep in mind that we're just giving you the data for that specific generation within the conversation context. All right, so I want to give you a couple of examples of kind of how this works. You've seen the REST API in action and the endpoints that you need to make all of this work. So I'm just going to show you that in ThoughtSpot, we do have a Spotter app in Slack that we've developed that any one of you can download and enable within your cluster. And it's using these same endpoints that I've just shown you. So once that's enabled in your cluster, you can go into Slack. I've got this Spotter staging Slack app, and then you can begin asking questions. So you can see that I can ask / Spotter show models. And if I do that, we can see that I can either list all of my models just by issuing that question here, or you can ask for a specific model if you know it begins with retail or whatever that may be, just / showing the models, and then some piece of, whatever you're trying to search for is the name for that model. So here I've listed all the models that I have access to in ThoughtSpot. I'm going to pin that. So now we have our model tied to that session for this user in Slack, and I can begin asking questions. So I can say Spotter staging, show me total ops by stage name. So I know this is Salesforce data. I'm pretty sure I know exactly what I'm going to get here. Spotter, the Spotter app is going to respond to me and start building out a visualization for me. So again, this is that empty conversation we've already created. We're leveraging the endpoints to send the request to ThoughtSpot. And now ThoughtSpot's working on the request and is going to send me a PNG image of that answer that it creates, and we're embedding it directly here in Slack. Okay. So a very simple use case, but it gives you a lot of power for, this could be an internal use case or an external use case. I see this internally at ThoughtSpot as something that's very helpful for me and a lot of my teammates. So we can use this to, if we've got a data source that we go to every day, instead of leaving Slack, we can just ask those questions directly in Slack to get answers. Okay, one of the last slides I'm going to show you today is just the chatbot flows into ThoughtSpot. So these are just the different options for those basically the 3 methods outside of MCP. Or how do you decide what option you want to use when you're integrating ThoughtSpot's AI intelligence somewhere within an app, right? So we'll make sure we make this deck available to you guys. And if you have questions, feel free to reach out to your AE. We're happy to talk to you more detail about these. But basically, the basic workflow is exactly what I just showed you. The chat starts. Is it a data question or not? If it is a data question, you got to look for existing reports using metadata search, and you got to select a data source or a model in ThoughtSpot, right? So your preferred Spotter interaction, this could be a Spotter embed, this could be a Spotter Agent Embed, or this could be a REST API embed as well. So it just depends on what you're trying to do here, right? And it's basically just an iterative process of asking a question. Spotter's going to return either a visual for you with the Spotter embed with full interactivity, Spotter Agent Embed, very similar. We're going to return a visual that is highly interactive. And with the AI endpoints, you've got the option of either downloading an image, PDF, Excel, or CSV of that specific answer that Spotter has returned to you, or we can just give you access directly to the data. So it's really a lot of flexibility in how you want to integrate these. So integrating it directly into a web page using the Spotter embed, building it into an existing search bar or a bot or some type of agent that you have on your web page using the Spotter Agent Embed, or into third-party apps like Teams or Slack or any other tool using the AI REST endpoints. So you've got a lot of flexibility with how you can go to market with these. And as Ashna mentioned earlier, a lot of our customers are looking for ways to monetize AI in their products, and these give you a pretty deep toolbox for building really interesting functionality within your apps. So again, just to recap, Spotter Embed, it's great for just drop-in AI analyst UI. You're going to get what you get with some customizations with our REST our SDK. Get to market very quickly. Spotter Agent Embed, you're bringing Spotter directly into your existing text boxes or chat bots or agents, and you're able to control programmatically with sending that message, full styling based on however you want to design that search, and whatever guardrails you want to put around that. And again, the REST API endpoints, it's headless AI workflow. You orchestrate that in your back end. We're returning to you tokens that you can do some really interesting things with, or you can use the search data or report answers to pull down either an image of the file or the data itself. So I know I went through that really, really quickly. One thing I would also show you if you want to see a couple of examples of Spotter Embed and Spotter Agent Embed is, this is Salesforce, so Spotter Agent, all of these work in any of these third-party platforms, ServiceNow, Salesforce. Again, I'm mentioning Slack and Teams as well. But this is just the vanilla Spotter Embed, right? So we can pass in a question as soon as Spotter Embed is initiated by the SDK, and it's going to build out a viz for us. This AI assistant icon that you see here, this is using the Spotter Agent Embed. So again, you have full control using Spotter Agent to design the UI however you want. So I can say total ops by stage name, sort, descending. And we're using the Spotter Agent Embed to send that NLQ question directly to ThoughtSpot. ThoughtSpot's building out the viz and returning to you a div that you can begin that conversation directly in your agent. So you have control over the full design. You can make this look like a chat window, however you guys want to design it.
I'm sure you're confident enough to embed your ThoughtSpot AI into your applications in different ways. And this video was super, super helpful. If you still have any doubts, let me know in the comments below. I'll be more than happy to answer. See you in another one on ThoughtSpot's channel, and make sure you do subscribe.